Did you know there's only two people who listens to this podcast? And you're one of them. We are a gang. 3 of us.
Today's pick. It is in Turkish. First I'm going to read the Turkish one. Aydınlığa ulaştım. Aydınlık içimden çıktı. So aydınlık, it means it's light. It has the aroma of enlightened or clarity, but they're not like 100%. It doesn't really mean 100% enlightened or clarity, but it's a light before the sun comes, when the day starts to wake up. Things become clearer because there is light. And then you feel, as a person, you feel light. You start to breathe and you feel alive. And there's a whole combination of it is just coming into a light place. So this says, I've achieved to this light place, and it came from inside of me, or it came out of me. It has spiritual honeys in it that I can dip my finger into. It's not only the spiritual, all the answers come out of me. And how did it happen? I know everything. I know all the answers in the world. So I have been meditating for about 2 years, on and off, trying different techniques, or I haven't achieved, like, I haven't followed only one technique for over than 2 months, because I get bored, and I know that it works. It's somehow either my mind gets a bit slackish, just drops it off, and I just kind of want to do something else instead of repeating the same thing all the time, I guess. So I get bored and I leave it. And a couple of months later, I try another type of meditation, but I absolutely think that is one of the best things that helped my mind to settle down. It's not a magic pill. That's really good for the mind. Then I realized that it's really good for the soul. And I start praying. But praying in a different way. Like, it's like a mantra, or using only one word. And in Islam, it's I'm quite interested in Islam in these days, by the way. Like, before that, I was interested in, say, Buddhism, and I've always interested in some kind of a spirituality. But I don't know my reasons, but I haven't really taken any step towards to really know any of them, because somehow it all seemed like they have a bit flaws in some part, and their institutions, so they're kind of like a mind controlling systems, religions. The way that people dress, the way that the people who follow this religious organization speak with each other. It's like inner stuff. It's a cult. They have dress code, they have word code, they have speech codes, they have books they follow, and it always put me off, because it's in somehow when you put yourself into a box like that, it means that it meant to me that I had to exclude the rest. But I think there are different types of beliefs, and all the beliefs are, from their point of view, they're viable for those people. Who am I to say that your belief is not right and my belief is right, or my belief is righter than yours? So I was always put off by that. But in very coincidental a series of experiences or events has taken me to a point that I had quite a bit of free time. And then during this couple months, so okay, let's put it. I've been doing pizza deliveries a couple of days a week for my neighbor. So I think that's brilliant. It's given me a different perspective about Turkish people. They're Turkish as well. Turkish people living in a foreign country, and how their internal dynamics, their dynamics with the British people, and it's just those kind of dynamics, those kind of bridges. What kind of bridges work? What kind of language and what kind of relations it's been built, sort of thing. And not every day has been fruitful for the pizza place. So I ended up sitting at the back or somewhere in the front, and having to read something. And there's a couple books there, and one of them was the history of God, Karen Armstrong, which I highly recommend everybody if you want to understand where the God comes, that the concept of God and the evolution of that in all religions and their correlations, and its correlations between philosophy, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, and their core understanding about what God is philosophically, where it sits, and what society is, and the evolution of the systems of religions as institutions in history. So it's absolutely fantastic book. So I ended up borrowing that book, and it's quite a long read. I'm finishing it at home, but I still required something to read when I was down there and didn't have any work to do, and there was Quran, and I started reading it, and it was an okay translation because the translation of the holy books or the knowledge books is really important to be translated well, because first of all, Arabic is not my first language, and as I understand, it's been it's a very flowery language. It's quite deep, and Quran has been written as God. I'm going to talk about all these. I guess we'll see where it's going to take me. Where the subject is going to take me. It's written in a very poetic language. So if you're into poetry, you know that it could take sometimes months or years to unfold the other meanings in a poem, and it requires a really extensive understanding about that language and other meanings of the words and other combinational meanings of those words, etc., etc. And when we think about it, the Quran is not Hazrat Muhammad. As I understand, he didn't say that it's been given in Arabic. So it's been told in the language of Allah, and it's been translated by Jibril. It's archangel, Jibril angel, isn't it? And to Arabic, so the Muhammad and the folks could understand it. So if I'm wrong in somewhere, please excuse me. But this is my general understanding about it. So I start reading it, and some parts really struck my interest. I haven't finished it, but I read a bit of it, and I was made it. So I carried on. So where am I? So what am I talking about? All this? Oh, so the light. I found a light, and it came inside of me, came out of me. So yes, that is one kind of a developing adventure. On the other side, these are all happening simultaneously. On the other side, I've been really enjoying following my breath, following my body, following my body physical movements. silencing my mind, or just letting the images and the thoughts flowing in my mind. And it's after they flow. So this is the meditation side. So there are different types of meditation, which I am not expert on any of those. So what I do is I sit cross legs or a half lotus position and put my hands on my lap, not on my knees. On my lap, it just feels more, because when I put it all over my knees, it has a different effect on the images which passes in front of my mind, the eye of my mind. And so when you turn your hands, like the palms facing the sky, it opens up the lungs, and then you breathe more oxygen in. So that is a one way. So what I do is, this is a technique, but I don't want to get into the details of it, just very briefly. So if you're interested in meditation, just please do your own research about it. Like, don't take my word on it. But I put my hands on top of each other and put them on my lap. Yeah, relax body, just straight back, and relax the jaws and stuff, and start breathing. Either focus on my breath when it comes into my nostril. It's like breathe in and breathe out. It's just the breathing and breathing out. Or says I focus on my belly. When I breathe in, how much it goes, like you swell up and then you swell down, you rise up and you rise down. So I think that is my key thing, the rising up and rising down. You can't rise up. Rise up and, what is it? Shrink? Or sink? Yeah. So it's a movement. It's a breathing movement. So it's a pulsation. So the body pulses, goes up and then comes down again. So I think when I focus on that coming up and down, I start seeing the waves. Maybe possibly they are electromagnetic waves. This is like seen in the eye of my mind, swelling up and down. So that is my focus point. So that's what, and I don't follow it with my eyes. I follow it with my body. It's the sensation of going up and down. So that is my meditation. That what keeps me in a meditative state. And when I'm in that state, just shapes and thoughts, images, visuals, just generally in the first very, very recent things, which recent events or words or gestures or something which still dwelling in my mind comes first. And yes, sometimes I try not to think, or I try to pass them, or sometimes I think about them, or I just like, it's like watching them and analyzing them, and then when I realize and I'm analyzing it, I just like, oh, all right, okay, let it go, and it goes. But what it does, I think, in me is, on Tinder you pass somebody and it goes side, but in this one it doesn't drop, but it stays on somewhere, and the mind and the back processor of the mind carries on looking at it from different angles, and just different perspectives just pops up like a pop-up book. Another perspective just pops up from the side. Oh, could it have been like that? Oh, could it have been like this? So in a very short amount of time, just so many images and thoughts just passing by, things popping up and down, but they don't really feel tiring, and somehow they all cool. And there's this black. It's not 100% black. It's almost like watching the galaxies. Sometimes watching the Milky Way, sometimes it feels like I'm moving towards the galaxy, or I'm in it. Sometimes I see it as dark as it can get, with some stars, bright stars in it. And recently, I feel like I start spiraling upwards, or the magnetic field around me is slightly spiraling upwards, and this is I feel like this is the light, or this is the lights which come out of me, come from inside of me. Then so many things that my mind dwells on, I lose interest into dwelling on those, because start seeing them from different perspectives. And the other interesting thing is Islamic way of praying, and I find it quite powerful, a vibrational point. And the other one is this, and also there's zikr, which is like chanting some mandalas. No, is it right? Yeah, some kind of chanting. It almost feels like I don't know how many of you would enjoy going to a trance party or psytrance party, quite like trance like music. So that's what it does. Meditation does that too. It separates the unnecessary particles. There's more clarity. There's more light passing through the waters of my mind. It feels I'm rested. It feels I'm calm. I've had a good run, and then my body is really floppy, but my mind is perky. So that's how it feels. I've been looking for light for a long time, I guess. Who isn't? I mean, that's what we all do, I think. We all look for one way or the other, sort of light, one kind of light. Because light is good. When we go to like a big festivals, and at night, it's a big arcade stage, the stage becomes alive. All the lights shows and fires, and you see like tens of hundreds of people start flowing from the hillside and come gather into this massive, gigantic space to dance in a trance way, to dance in a meditative way. It's that is, I think, that is looking for light, and it's such a good experience. The body feels, the mind feels, that you feel so. I do. This is, and I know some of my friends, I can see it, but of course I don't know their experience in that sense. But that the way that we connect in those times with music, with movement, with people around, and that connection feels so real and solid. That is the connection what makes the universe alive, and what makes us. What I had trouble with religions so far has been is pointing out that when you're praying, when you're reading the books, you're pointing somebody above you. We point, don't we? Like, we're asked to point somebody above us, and I don't really feel comfortable with that idea. Just from the start, I'm saying that I'm weak, and I need protection, or I don't know. It just really feels suppressing. So it's just something above is pressing down. It feels oppressive, really. And I've born into this world, and my mind doesn't know of anything. I'm trying to figure out what is happening in life, and I seek for spirituality. So, but I have a mind. When I look around, and when I see what people are talking about, the spirituality and the religion, my mind is saying that that is not what I'm signed for. That is not what I believe. I think that's absolutely rubbish, because there isn't respect to other kinds and other beliefs and other thoughts in general religion systems. So that's why I've always taken a step back. But now my understanding about Allah, the Islam's God concept, is changing, and I start seeing it as I don't start seeing it as one of the interpretations. One of the way to interpret it is a system. It is a combination of everything, and it works with the magnetic energy, the electromagnetic waves, and it works with the sound waves. Sound waves are the key for the lux, for our minds, for our connectivity. The universal system, which is called Allah, works with magnetic waves. Allah has 99 names, and which it says that each of the name, all the combination of those names, when you gather all of those names, each name attributes quality or virtue, and all of these, the holistic system of these makes Allah. So it's not a God as the concept of God in Christianity or in Judaism, or it's more or less quite close to the shamanic way of thinking. Yeah, and this is my understanding about it.
Did you know there's only 2 people who listens to this podcast, and you're one of them? We are a gang, 3 of us.